Pizza bilo peršo u subotu. U pjatnicu. Pjatnicu idi bilo peršo.
What the day?
Pjatnica, subota, nedjelja.
It says December the 4th.
Ponedjeljak. That's I think
Yeah.
it is.
Every morning change this.
All right. Well, last time we were talking about the years in St. Catharines and all that sort of stuff. And we were just getting on to, what's that, the fridge?
Fridge.
Yeah, the fresh.
Okay. We were talking about St. Catharines. We were just, yeah. We were getting on to finishing St. Catharines and just getting on to Hamilton. Now, this was part of when you were in St. Catharines, you were checking out possibilities all over southern Ontario, and you finally you settled on Hamilton and the grocery store, right?
Right.
And that was in 1948?
That was 1948.
And I think I can remember coming here, and it was at the time Waco went around the traffic circle and started getting back to St. Catharines.
From St. Catharines. We was coming from Toronto, and a circle was going round and round and round. But I don't think you remember that.
Well, if I don't remember it, I heard the story.
Very young, yeah.
But that wasn't when we were moving here?
No.
Oh, okay. But did we come here in the summertime in August, or to get here in August to be here for school?
In September we opened the store.
All right.
First, I think. Didn't we?
Something like that.
Yeah. September the 30th, I think we opened the store, because I remember September, October, November, December. September? So maybe later.
No, not later.
I think it was September.
I went in on a strike, so that's where I started to work and to open up the package dime in the grocery store. But I wanted to join to the red and white store.
We took over and we hired a Kuzik that he did all moderation.
Oh, Kuzik did it.
Shelves.
Fred did it?
Yeah. The shelves, the stand in the middle. We painted, we cleaned everything out. And then from red and white store come the manager, and he make a plan for the fruit that was there, and finally we decide to really open on the first, because it was 30th that we get in.
Okay, 1st of October.
And yeah, and then
we were living downstairs at the time?
Yeah.
Until we can get up out.
We have to wait a month or half a month. That time there was 6 months you have to wait for the people to find a place to move out. If you give the notice, you can't get in until after 6 months. They have to.
Right.
They have to get out.
Yeah.
So I think we waited that 6 months.
But that's not. No, they move sooner. Soon they see we open the business goes so good, and they start to cry and say what mistake they made it, because if we figure we pay
Well, what they
17,000.
done it, you didn't have to say. You have to say what you did,
Yeah.
Nick.
So then,
Okay?
Anyway, you bought it from the Cosmans, right?
We bought it from Finkelman.
Finkelman.
Finkelman,
Sure.
there.
He was the fellow who owned it, but
Who
Cosman
owned
was
it.
running it.
Cosman was running
Renting the groceries.
grocery, and Jack was running the drugstore.
That was Jack Levine?
Levine,
Yeah, right.
yeah. So that's what was, but that was Finkelman's building. So we bought the building, and then we have to wait until they let us to get in. that's how we started. And you know what I remember?
What?
The Mr. Clark. When he see that we working there, he came and he bought the first cigars, Mexican cigars he used to smoke, you see? The first cigars. And I says, well, this fella, he must be good luck that he came first to buy something, you know?
Right.
And we started to put lots of fruit, and we put meat, and we put
We didn't have that
Lots
fridge section at that time, did we?
yeah, we have a walk-in box. We was taking half a cow at the time,
Yeah, I remember that.
and yeah, we open, and at first we trying this way that butcher have to be there and to have a good start.
Uh-huh.
And after that we took over, and we was doing pretty well. I was even surprised sometime. Friday, Saturday, we have so many people in there, and
See the red and white.
you boys was after the big order, you was delivered with the car. When the big family come in and take a big order of the stuff, and we was happy to serve that time. So that last for 23 years, I think.
I don't think you were in the store for 23 years. From 48, I think, to about 66.
Yeah.
We running to 60.
Leave Mama out.
Just,
So it was.
I think it was 66 when the truck drove through. So that would be that would be 18 years. But then after that, other people ran it.
Well, and we opened the laundromat
Oh yeah,
next door,
sure.
and we still have something
You were
there
still
to
in
do.
business, yeah, sure, okay.
In business, yeah. Yeah. Well, after that store running, that truck running in, we have a family, Irish family, young people that they want to take over. So they took over, they running for a while, and they decided they want to go back to Ireland. So they sold to another family. So another family was for a while there. And from time to time, we already don't take over the grocery, but we have to look after the laundromat and the building. And after that, this fella, Gitur, come in, and he says he got his own machines. If we want to renting to him, he gonna put all his machines in, and he gonna take it for I don't know how many years he make it, at least for so many years he gonna running
His laundry machines.
laundromat.
Yeah, I remember that.
So then
Yeah.
we get out from the business from laundromat.
Yeah, when he took over, then we already came here. And to come here, well, that building had to pay the tax and pay and that, remember that sign that was there, and
Public Optical, yeah.
yeah, they was paying something to us, that thing. And yeah, well, this was pretty long time that we was on that business. But from time to time, when this big stores start to open there and there, so we have a little last. But both of us was working, and you boys was helping us, so we was doing all right still, because we didn't have to pay rent, just the heat, and well, sure, heat and stuff like that. We have to call.
But we discharge you from the grocery store. In a year, we bought this one. 1960, we bought this thing. So you was already had
I thought we moved in here 61, but it was 60.
We did 61.
In the spring.
Okay.
We was bargaining couple of months before the new year and that, you see.
And there was
And we get in 61, we're supposed to get in March, and we don't get in until May because Dad wanted them to put the double picture window, they was calling, you know,
Right.
because there was only the single.
Right.
And I don't remember that they put it or they don't put it, but we decided to take the way it is.
Right.
And the rest of the things you remember, you was already a big boy.
Well, let's think back into the time of the store. Like, got in there in 48, and Mr. Clark bought the first cigar. I remember so much about that store. I can remember where all the things, pretty well everything
There
was. Where the soap was, where the fruit was, where the macaroni was, where the carnations, and remember the butcher
where
block.
cigarettes were just
sure.
Just
where the candies, there's chocolate bars. I can remember the two boxes.
You didn't
two
remember
cheese
when
boxes right under the cash register. One was for the people who were signing, right?
That wasn't the cash register. Those boxes was in a baker and a butcher shop under the scale. Those boxes with the change and stuff like that.
I think of when we put the slips where the people signed on the back. There was those under the cash register, right? But wasn't there two of them then, or just one? Were there two of these Kraft cheese boxes on top of each other? Because if the person wanted to sign, they would sign the back of the bill.
And we just put in a little box, yeah.
So was there another box under there? I just can't remember. There was at least that one anyway.
Well, you don't remember when the tire run to
did you remember when the fellow was passing by the store and the door was open and his tire was coming off right on the corner and right into the store and
where you would have been, but you weren't by the cash register.
Beside the cash register and jump up on a pile of eggs.
And lay down.
I remember that. I remembered I wasn't there at the time, but I think I saw. And you would have been hurt if you had been by the cash register.
But I didn't know where I was.
You were probably behind the meat counter.
There was a counter beside the cash register. So he went around that tire. He just went around and behind the cash register there was pile like that. He said, just jump on that pile.
And life was make the truck stop, you know.
Right.
And he has that tire somehow. Slowly, that tire, when they jump from that truck and right in the window and right on at the top of the pile of eggs we used to have behind the cash register.
That was exciting. There
wasn't make much damage, but everybody was laughing so much to see where that land and how that did, just swing that tire.
I figured, where this come from?
And where the last one happening, we wasn't there.
Thank heavens. It would be a little hard to avoid the truck. One wheel you can avoid, but the whole truck.
And I think that fridge was squeezed a little by the
walking in.
Not walking in. The one freezer. There was
the Coca-Cola cooler.
No, there was there was a little freezer in this side before you go to walk in. There was a freezer. The first freezer there was coming up.
Yeah, right.
So that one was damaged, I think, with that truck. But all the rest of the
meat
things.
counter was display. One was safe. It was not damaged.
Yeah. What are some of the other exciting times that happened? You got the wheels coming through a truck. Were we ever robbed? We weren't ever. No one ever came into the store.
Robbed lots of time.
Oh, I mean, robbed different ways. I don't. But nobody stuck you. Nobody ever stuck us up.
No.
Did anybody ever break into the store?
Yeah.
Breaking in one time. Mama was
Just
just
one time?
from the back,
I think there was
from
more
the
than one time.
garage.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was
Oh, down
Down,
steps and through
the
the
stairs.
right.
through, and one that family was on a relief all the time.
Uh-huh.
You know, whole family.
Neighbors of ours.
Neighbors.
Right,
Used to
right.
do- yes, there
And
was
I
under
used to have
the
under the
bullet.
cash, under the scale, little drawer, and I used to keep the money so
Right.
much for change.
Yeah.
And she was watching where I go, and then I come. She says, "What, you got a bank there?"
Mm.
I brought her the change to put it to the cash register, so much to
Right.
have a big. I said, yeah. Soon she told her brother, some money there. And I was leaving that money all the time there on the cash register, under the scale, because the small change.
Right.
He break it in from the garage in that way. And took the money out. Oh, clean. So I says, slowly, I don't know how, I pointed to the police who I figured that is. They went, they find out that is that family.
Right.
But it was belonged to the some kind of society,
What?
and they buy them out from the
Salvation Army or something? Right.
Salvation Army.
Yeah. Right.
Buy him out from the jail. You know, he was for a while. So then I don't have a feeling for it, for the Salvation Army no more. They used to come, you know, to
Right. Get some donation.
get us. That's enough.
I've given my donation.
I said, there was already someone of them owed some money. I want to put stop the pay, you know, to collect some. They say, you can't do it because they belong to the,
They took as much as they could, and then they went and signed to this Salvation Army, and they
you can't
responsible
touch them.
for that. They said what they've been before, we're not responsible for that.
Right. Yeah, we also had trouble with the Canadian Armed Forces too.
So when you in the business field and you live for
But
so long,
we've been having a good crowd. We're having a very, very good friends. We have someone that was kind of on a jealous side because
Right.
they used to say, I could buy that for a $6,000 and you
you
pay so
17,
17 or 18 and all that.
Yeah.
But
that started,
No,
they
we-
bought it for $17,000.
we did it not bad, except abbiamo bule per prodales businessom, tave bule uzjale lots more money. And this way we was already drowned out. And see to pay as much as we want.
You know why we never sold it before? Because it was crime to not put for sale.
Boy, you're looking for trouble, Dad.
Well, with something like that, that's wrong.
Okay. We had a lot of people. We can remember a lot of names.
And I didn't want us to sell
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
to say the truth,
Yeah.
because for some reason I like to keep it what I have.
Yeah. And lots of things you
And,
think might go on
and
the
what
press.
really was the thing, what you can change for,
Uh-huh.
that was better for people like us already in
Right.
that age and that things,
Never mind.
yeah, never mind.
There was for the baker shop.
Boy, I'm glad you two don't invest in the stock market because you'd always be arguing over.
Why they was after us so much. And
And the baker shops when I was already camp supply now. And one French fellow come in and says, Monsieur Godet, you're not tired from that work because they find out.
This one he can talk day and night.
For,
He knows everything. He didn't forget even the names.
and I said, damn right, I am tired. I says, I figure lots of times somebody come in and give me the money, I put it in. I said, he went talk to his wife, come next day. I want to buy. How much? I told half of it what I took after. We went to Timmins to find out through the real estate.
Yeah, Dad, we went through that story. We got that one down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
That was
talking.
many times that story.
Well, the little needle on the record goes back a little bit. That one we know, I know. But with the store, I was still thinking that. I remember the time. I was just trying to remember how old I was when you gave me the bad news that I couldn't go to the movie theater on Saturdays. I remember that was a terrible thing because I always enjoyed going to the movie theater.
You was enjoyed so much that you was staying for 2 movies.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It was 11 o'clock
I
at
remember
night.
that story.
And I phoned all the movie where you are and all that. And I think Corcosa girl was working there. And I talked to her and she says, don't worry, they still here. You and Ted. Both of you.
What you don't remember, well, is I remember getting off the bus across the street, and it must have been about 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Well, that was late.
And I could see you wandering around the store, and both Ted and I knew, boy, they're gonna be mad.
There were 7 or 8 that was done.
I know.
When I went and called the
I know, and
store.
I remember getting into the store and waiting for the roof to fall in and so on. I can't remember anything after that.
So Mama dust your pen?
Right.
I don't think
I
did.
can't remember
I
that.
don't think I did. No. Yeah, Peter used to say, Mama just dusting
Steve
the
wasn't.
pants. But Steve and Ted wasn't dusting too much. Peter get most.
Peter was.
Oh yeah, we're gonna save a whole story for Peter. We're gonna do him separately, so he can watch this on television. And if he ever tells his kids how good he was, we can always show this to Karen and Kathy and Tracy.
Well, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't
he
what?
certainly worked in the store.
Oh yeah, everything. And when he was bigger, he was delivered with the car, and yeah, he was a lots of help.
Yeah, but what I was thinking, like at one point, like I knew I had to start working on Saturdays, and I think this had something to do with Peter. Maybe he was starting to go to university or something had
Well,
changed.
he was going to ask how Toronto, so that was taking all the time of his. So then you start to work in Saturdays at the cash register when I go and do the meals and all that. There wasn't a house already. That was I have to ask you go and do
We
this.
used to
I go and do
Saturday lots of time. Some wedding we used to leave this few fellows to run the rest.
Yeah.
And so
And always something happened when we leave the store. The lights goes off or something, or the whole freezers went off because you pulled somewhere the fire out of it. And you didn't know not much about it. We're lucky there was, I don't know if you remember, Vance was a Lithuanian fella. He used to live in our apartment over the drugstore, you know. And I remember that they phoned us to the Matka what happened, and I says, go see the Vance. He gonna straighten things up. So that did. You went to see Vance, and he come to the store, and he was pulling something there where the plugs was, and then disconnect the fridge and freezer and everything else. And that would be disaster if that was staying overnight.
but when we leave Steve to run, when we go to some wedding or something like that on Saturday, he was afraid
To not sell too much.
to not overcharge them
Overcharge, yeah.
on that. I says, don't worry. they will come back next day. I know all about the fix it.
Yeah, the next day some girl come in with a can, and I don't know what that she wanted. I says, where you got it? She says, yesterday from your father.
Because you have it here.
Yeah. Father, yeah. The other thing I remember was when Dad would go to have lunch at the house, I would take over, and I always prayed that nobody would come in and ask for pork chops, because I wasn't very good at cutting them. They would be either too fat or too
skinny.
It wasn't that easy to do it. I was doing it because for some reason, I was working on a
Well, you worked as a
big Shektuza in Montreal, and I see how they do all the things. I know all the parts, how to slice and that. But that's hard for a woman because you have to take a saw for a bone to cut and that. But I was doing on a spare time when when nobody around, so I'm not going to wait for him. I go and do it my own. And we have a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And
So that was going.
And Steve was cut the pork chops too already after, but it still was not.
They weren't that great, but I keep practicing.
Yeah, but people was really.
But the butcher, the
That
one
was
we have,
nice.
he was the side. He watching that we have some boys, and Mama always around. He started thinking. He says, you know what? I see you got boys and your wife. How about I teach you to be the butcher? I can get the job any place because he's a professional one. And our Lord knew to be the butcher, and the prices, the packers send it big, which one meat, dearest, second, third, and the fourth one, those one here, and all this one. From
You remember there was a big piece of paper
The
for
chart,
half
the
a
chart,
big.
yeah,
half
cut,
a-
showing the cuts,
Yeah,
different
and
cuts.
they showed the cut and showed the price and everything, and that was something to learn.
Right.
Which is that's
So
easy to
also
learn
fast.
and things like
I
that.
know the
You
point
know,
that
that's
the
easy.
people take the dearest one, sirloin second, round steak third one, and the fourth one all from the legs,
Yeah.
Oh,
from the
we were serving people
That's it.
pretty well. They were satisfied.
So I was appreciate, but he was so honest. He says, I can get the job any place. But I see you don't need that much. You just need two person. One by the cash register. Mama Lawrence, so nice already. First I was working the cash.
Mm-hmm.
Just punch, then pull the lever, give the total. You don't have to
Before
write.
that, I was marking everything by the pencil
Right.
and keep it the slips in a box, like you
So
remember.
that was
Yeah.
so easy.
And after, when we get that cash register, I even remember there was over $1,000 that cash register cost us. And there wasn't brand new, there was second one.
No, sorry, that was new one.
And
Not that one.
that was
Meat
easy,
counter.
that doesn't take that much time for you to write and then to,
Add it up, yeah.
yeah.
Second hand only was walking in box. And the rest, cash register, meat counter, brand new one.
Slicer was second hand too,
The slicer, that one, the
yeah,
brand new.
but that was good,
So that's,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember the slicer, I remember
We
the meat grinder, the
Yeah.
hamburger and so on.
how nice. You just don't take pieces and just put it there and that. Grind.
Yeah, and we learn as time goes by. We learn a little bit there and a little bit here, and we was
national-
learning on our stuff, not on somebody else things that we was doing for somebody else.
National Grocery was help lots.
And from National Grocery, Oh, that Mr.
Ballinger.
Ballinger, he was everything to us, and he knows it too.
He come in,
He tell us a
show
lot
how
of
to
ways.
places.
And he stays there for an hour or so, and whatever we needed to know, he explained it. He knows because he's was at the company there.
You know, we was in the baking business instead of
And I think he think we was part of the French because Ballinger, that's a French name.
Yeah.
And he thought maybe you some relatives or something. But he's still a nice gentleman, but kind of a so quiet person that you would meet him when we meet him in a streetcar once, I think. And I look around, that's him. I said, Nick, look at here. Did you know who this guy is? So he recognized him. He recognized him right away.
Oh, it was very nice. Salesman.
He was a good friend. Even here, when we came here, he was already living on a mountain on 2nd Street this way.
Hey, 1 second.
And the Wellington, I think.
No. West Bend.
Okay, right.
Yeah, West Bend, and he was East Bend.
Right.
He lived somewhere there, and he brought me roses from his house to plant it here. And like I says, he was just like one of the family. He didn't have no family of his own here. Like they didn't have no children.
She was working somewhere.
They both was working, and well.
Salesman.
But there was a number of other people that we remember. Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, he was Bob Hope for us. And he come, he always say something fun that about the mice we have from Taylor. He was selling those seeds, you know, and we said we have lots of mice. He says, well, this one I brought you here. If you use it, you never see the mouse again. If you use it, you know?
Oh, if you use it, right.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
And he
Because I was thinking
this
you
is
think
that's
they're
a
going to
different
help
thing.
the mouse to clean out the mouth. He says, you try.
You try to
once,
use it, you never see the mouse
You never see
again.
no mouse, no more. That's me.
You die and that's it.
And lots of, he was such a full of life, that guy. He was delivered days and nights. He was working, he was like Arthur Murray. He was having in a school instructor from the dancer.
Oh, right.
You know, he
Yeah.
told us that. And when he come, that was full of fun. He said something funny and say one thing and another. And he was a good friend too. Who wasn't?
And well, then his son also delivered, right?
Then he was delivered with his son, yeah. And I think that's what he was prepared him
to retire
for,
himself.
you know, because later he retired. He was supposed to live, he always said that he likes the Mohawk. He was talking about the Mohawk, and Mohawk wasn't that open for builder that time yet when he, but I think he used to have his property, and then he met somewhere that, I don't know how, that he lived in apartment, not in the in a house.
Well, he was already retired.
Retired, and they went to an apartment.
So,
Here on
I
a
don't
mountain,
see for
I
how
think
many
even
years
on a
already.
Mohawk, but farther west.
didn't know that.
And boy, there was good salesman from Libby's. I forget his name. He was a sport Englishman. He always was with the black hard hat, you know. It was kind of extra. But when he come to the store, he was looking after his product like that was his own.
He go down to
He
the
go
basement
downstairs, he
fill up his
fill up the shelves, he stays and talk and talk and talk for hours. Oh, he was spending 2-3 hours in our store. And he was a good friend. Well, you see, in a business, you
make a friends.
you make it, and you occupy with something all the time. You occupy. The other way, you get moody, you get some unsatisfaction when people doesn't come. So we was happy for years, but to the last it wasn't that good already because the big stores.
Oh, I remember
Start
being in the
opening.
store for a whole day and ringing it up at the end of the day and have $45 or something, which was.
Well, there was to say the truth, that was very nice. The best one corner on the Burlington Street, all through. And our one, the best building.
The best building and
Well built.
maybe there was even better before we came because that drugstore survived for years, you know, and the grocery survived there. So that Cosman that he was renting that place.
Well, they thought they was already a millionaire. They was not paying that much money for what I paid. They was figured that was too dear. After a while, they find out that's not all time. That's times change. Everything start to go up. So then they feel very, very hurt why they never bought it themselves.
Right.
But it was too late.
Well, they bought. They have the lot already in a Wentworth upper Wentworth, and they built the home, and then they put a little store in the front room, whatever. And one of our lady that I remember her from Zelenyu. She was a neighbor of hers, and she was coming one time. I invited her for a Christmas dinner, and she was talking about her that she
Which one of that?
taken the Katrina. Remember Katrina, Lenetska Katrina, that we was to her funeral when she died. Anyways, yeah, she was talking about them, that they opened a little store and that was close to her, so she was dealing with them.
Well, that's talking about old time.
Okay, just spend another minute or two and we'll just sum it up a bit. We talked to a few people about Ballinger, Taylor, and the Libby's fella. Anybody else you remember? We had a guy coming in from Gibson Bakery and
Roy Haley was the best one. He teasing Terasa. Who's the best baker?
Well,
He
Roy
says-
wasn't the baker. He was just
No, he just delivered.
deliver. He was take it from the baker shop and deliver to the stores to sell it.
Taras was
So-
Malenkish.
Teddy was a little one, and they was asking who,
Who's the best?
yeah,
And
what
he
the
says,
cake's the
Roy.
best. He says
Roy Haley.
Roy Haley,
He never
and
forget.
then he get the cake from the Roy free, and he was so
yeah,
happy about that. And yeah, in
So
the
he's
store there was a lot. There was a one short fellow. I don't remember his name now, but we call him Jimmy Durante. You remember him, Mr. Smith? Smith. His name was, but he was short and looked like Durante. You know,
Nose like the rest.
we call him Mr. Oh, here's Mr. Durante coming.
Oh yeah.
So he was
Everyone was
for
like
a long time, and then I don't know what happened to him because another fella bought his business and
So it was
was
not the
tall and skinny, and he wasn't as friendly as we would.
Because he was not really a businessman. See, that the
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah, he bought
The businessman
he
has
bought
to
his
be
business, and
flexible.
yeah, he was delivering after. And the one fella from Smallware from Toronto, he was coming every Monday, every week
Tobio.
to take order for a chocolate, for a gum, for
Anything he can sell.
lots of things that smallware we was
Right,
calling that. There was Toby,
Yeah.
Toby, but that's a second name. I don't know his.
Yeah, that's-
Maybe Harry or something. Yeah, and he was very, very friendly.
He used to come.
He
to
come
the-
before dinner time, and when
pointed to the
all
fridge.
people come in and buy the lunches, and that lunches was
Yeah.
smell so good because there was a kind of a smoked meat, you know. From Swift there was now round ham
Right?
and smoke, and then there was very tasty meat. I didn't see that kind of meat anymore. And he come and exactly dinner time, and he come. He says,
Pointed on the cook ham. He says,
"Give me some of that cheese."
That's
And
ham.
he showing a ham,
Right.
you know. And I know what he means because I know him.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't ask for the that he would.
Oh,
he don't
right.
want his cheese,
Right.
you know.
Right.
He says it smells so good.
Yeah.
So I give him that. He says that's bacon, and that's my best food, that I like it.
Right.
I said, well, you don't think that you should take that? He says, why shouldn't I? If I like it, you take it, and what's your difference from me? And yeah,
So he was
he
staying.
sometime was staying for every Christmas. He bought me cup and saucer in present. I have it there maybe 18, 19 cups and saucers from Mr. Toby,
Right.
Tobio, from Toronto, from
I was
Smallville.
asking him, why you call that the name like that? I says, you know, I just like that meat. I says, but he says that's against
He used to have a
my
brother
religion.
that was
He
a
says
farmer
that
at
Was he Jewish or
Niagara
something?
Lake.
He was Jewish.
Yeah, he was Jewish.
He says, I says, tell the truth. Why was the
But
sale
they are was
of-
Russian Jew.
Right.
His brother was a farmer in Niagara Lake, not very far from Matka.
Right.
She know him. And he says sometime I need the money, or he need the money, but he never had the money. For some reason he had the land, but land needs the money. And he borrowed from me more than I do from him. You know, as two brothers, they cooperated. But he was just like any one of us. He
He say, well, you know,
very,
I
very
live home.
friendly. Even this house, when we talk about it, that we bought the house on a mountain, he says, I don't think you make a right decision. You know, Toby said. He says, you know, maybe for another 10 years you might enjoy it, you know, and then you wouldn't be able to take care of the house. And you might do just the way we did. We bought the condo, yeah, condominium. And he says, that's good enough for us. But you know what? I left the house to my son. And you know what? When I go to him, his fridge is empty. When I go to him, I have to bring some food to his fridge. And I'm an apartment. I have enough to put supply in my fridge for herself and even for them, for the young people, you know. He says about 10 years, and then you wouldn't be able. But you see, that's nearly 30 years.
And they were
uh,
saying about the sin.
They give you their ideas and their thinking, what they feel like, and that was good.
No sin. The Jews, Israel were in one country, and they don't like to work hard on the fields like someone. Now they get too fat, so there was a religion was saying that watch, don't eat too much pork because that's too hard on the heart. They wasn't paid attention. Was a lot of people dying and got sick because they don't work enough. He says, then they figure a sin. Soon they start to say that's a sin. The people stop. Don't use no more pork. He says, you know what I do? Before I go on the road, I fry the bacon and the eggs. That's where I go. Now I come to you and get the ham. He says, that's no sin. That's only made out. So that was the truth.
And being a hot country, that meat spoils fast too, and there's some
and there wasn't half of those days no kind of
protection.
protection.
When you eat something bad, you have to work yourself to give the chance to. If you just
if you don't, the fat settles around your heart, around your stomach.
That's right. So I says, well, now I know. Because where I was working in a baker shop, and there was Harris come in, he was a Jew. He says, put so much this, so much that, and so much lard. And there was from Halichina, 2 brothers. He says, Mr. Harris, that's a chazer. You know, the svinya.
Right.
He says, šljak ih ne trafu, čort ih ne ozme. Kaže, put that one.
They šljak them all the time.
No, because that's one. Tako Žedu se govorim.
I heard the saying šljak trafe or something.
Yeah, that's a very hard, big word, you know, song. Then, when I reopen, as a Jewish coming by, they see it, walking in. Таке файне хале. Знаєш що? Та то жидовське. Я кажу, як може бути жидовське, як то я їх робив? Ну, то нічого. А що ти кладеш у то? А я кажу, все, а за лад не кажу, що я кладу лад. А лад, if you don't put it, those collage wouldn't be tasty.
Right.
I figured, I told her all, but for the lad, she says, you don't put mechazer? No. Вона взяла додому, той колаж перший раз, прийшла і каже, на другий тиждень, вона знов хоче хали. І знов питає мене, what you put it in? I says, wait a minute, I told you last week. Well, I know. Знаєш що, як ти брехала,
you're gonna go to hell.
all the sin on your pasachim.
Right, that's right.
And I says, like this, I was teasing them.
Put it on.
Give me all. I says, okay, here, I am unbuttoned. I says, she says, I was baking myself. My challah never been so
nice and moist.
But that's why the Harris was saying they're not going to hurt them. But the flavor will be. And the way she was making, she never put the lard because that's against.
Yeah, because she was more religious. Yeah, right.
I wasn't afraid. I was give me all the same.
Well, you certainly met a lot of interesting people in the job, and
And you learn lots of the people
yeah.
from different people.
Okay, so now it's still December the 4th, 1989,
Right.
and we're gonna have to say goodbye.
Okay,
So
bye. Ciao, ciao.
ciao, ciao. Well, you want to do it like Dinah Shore did it, or Perry Como? You
No, like this.
No, isn't Dinah Shore usually throw a kiss?
Today is 29th of January.
1990. Right.
1990.
1990. Okay. And what I asked you was, maybe what we would do is talk about the kids, sort of one at a time as they came.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother told me that Peter was the first kid. I don't know if there's anybody else around there, but Peter was the first one. And you had been married, let's see, you got married in 1932, and you had Peter in 1935. You didn't do, well, that's 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is something you've never told anybody, certainly not Peter. Was this a planned decision?
That was a planned decision.
It was like order.
That was like for order.
On the Count Yanya, we have a Polish girl.
Right.
Take care of her.
Uh-huh.
And she was so cute and so funny. So we enjoyed it, so we says, we better start it.
Yeah, this is the kid who slept over or sometimes slept in your same
Well,
bed.
there was her mother was in a hospital, and she was the first one. And she was staying with us for 2 weeks until her mother get well.
Right.
That was Mrs. Kelp. And she gets used to us, and we get used to her so much. We wanted something like that.
She don't want to be stay home. She was anytime Mama was something.
And we planned to have a kid. 3 years later.
So that was
and
mostly
before
up.
3 years. And then,
But these were not easy times.
in
You were
9 months,
Yeah.
we have a Peter, and there was 1935, as everybody knows. That was hard time. Lots of people was telling me that that's not the time to raise the family because that's a hard time. But we was baking bread, and we know we could feed them. So
Was Kitka one of the ones? Or was just general people said, this is hard, this is the first time?
Kitka most. How did you decide that? I said, well, we just wanted the kid, that's all. And we have it, the boy, which is, we was very, very happy about it. So as we and Kitka was very happy about it because they didn't have it to that time, nothing yet, and we make it start. So we getting along. We have a little hard time because there was a first baby, and I could nurse him because I didn't have no milk. They kind of cool me down in hospital with the ice that they thought I have that much milk.
They thought you should, yeah. Well developed, right.
Yeah. And they put the ice around me, and then Peter, he cried.
Because he don't have it.
He didn't have it.
Right.
So we tried to comfort him the way we know how, and with the doctor's help, they give us one kind of a powder milk to make it, to shake it, and to feed them. He don't like it. He don't care for that. And another one, and Peter have a hard time to develop him right away.
Was he throwing up a lot of this stuff?
And and cry a lot.
Right.
And then we decided to do the old-fashioned way. We talked to these people that was bringing us the milk, cow milk, and we asked them to bring us the milk from the best cow that they have, that she's healthy. And Peter get to that, and he growing nice and healthy, and he milk. He on that milk he wanted, even 5-year-old, he wanted his bottle because he just wanted to suck.
Well, how would he ask for it? Would he ask for it or just? Well, he was still young.
It from the cup.
Yeah.
He was talking good already to me.
Yeah.
When he the nipple was turned off already, he wore it out because he got the teeth and he was playing out on it. And I says, now we got no Pepka,
Yeah.
so you have to drink from the cup.
Right.
He says, no, Ma, you don't get me a nipple. I says, how people gonna ask me? I didn't have a little baby. People gonna ask me who I buying the nipple for.
Right.
And he says that's for Uncle John.
That's a good story.
He was
But how old was he? A year and a half?
5-year-old.
He was on the nipple for 5 till 5 years.
years.
Boy, Peter, wait till
Yeah.
you see this one.
And then Dad gets sick during the winter time. The winter time during the New Year. He got his appendix.
Uh-huh.
He got sick, and he had to go to hospital. And that time I remember I hide the bottle and just make them to eat the meal whatever he was very fussy. He don't like this, he don't like that. But anyways, he was a healthy boy when he was growing up, and so fast. He was a person developed in his mind because he just talked to both of us. And to Wiko, and Kitka was still in Ansonville that time.
Before he get out from the carriage, he already was.
He already
talking like
tell his name when he was still in the carriage. That fast he developed the voice, the talk, and
two different languages.
And he was speaking
and
he could speak Ukrainian and English.
really clear, and he was pick up with the children that he was playing outside English, and he was already ready for school. Kindergarten, I think he was going for 1 year when he was 5.5 or 6.
Right, yeah.
He was going there, and I don't know if I should say, but I'm not going to say this thing.
Oh, come on.
It's
Pretend you're on
something-
Geraldo Rivera. Now, what's this you're trying to hide about
Something
Peter?
funny I was.
Come on. Come on. Just think you're talking to Geraldo. Now, what is this about Peter in kindergarten?
Well, I know. I don't like to say something that he would be embarrassed about.
Oh,
you
that
know.
would be good stuff.
Yeah.
This is what everybody would like to know about.
Anyways, he come from school fast, and he wet his pants yet,
Mhm.
you know. And Wiko was teasing him about it, you know. We have at that time was working for us Harry Sleuka. He was deliver the bread.
Mm-hmm.
And Wiko hear about that, about his coming home, and I just see him. He changed his pants, and he was so eager to change his pants when he come home. Well, Wiko hear that story, and then he tell him that, you know, Peter, what? He says, you know, Harry Sleuka was split the wood in the back, and he wet his pants. I hear that. And he says, Wiko, that toya wet
Yeah.
my pants. Well, He grew to be a big boy. He was very good in school, and the students love him there. He got one a project that he make it like a cuckoo bird, and his project, we kept it for a long time.
Well, wait. I remember a green thing, a wooden thing, but that I thought was from St. Catherine's, a parrot.
Parrot, well, that's...
Was that from Ansonville?
From Ansonville. He's not from St. Catherine.
Oh, yeah.
That helped him
Yeah.
a little, but
Yeah.
anyways, he got the prize for that one, you know.
Right.
And he was so proud of it and that. So, and then 6 years later, we suddenly thought, one, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's something happened, then what we gonna left with? So we planned we needed another one, but for some reason I was working hard and I wasn't holding too much that thing, so I lost that one.
I didn't know that. My goodness. Between Peter and myself.
And then the doctor told me if you wanted to straighten up yourself, because that's not good for a woman when she do that often.
Yeah.
She says, don't lift anything, not even a teapot from the...
Right.
So I was careful, and then I got Stefan.
Boy, I'm glad you were careful.
Yeah, I was careful, and then 9 months, 6 years when Peter was old, and then we got you. And we brought you to the house, and he was so excited. The lady that was taking care of
nobody have to touch you. Take care of you.
Dad when I was in the hospital, and this neighbor, Yanya's mother, she was doing a little housework for Dad, you know.
Right.
And she heard that I am already home. She came to see us, you know, and see what we brought at home. And Peter, when he see that, he just run to her, Mrs. Kell, we have a baby. And he run to the room, get you from the bed, and I was trembling, I don't know what's gonna happen. 6-year-old, you know. He was so happy to show Mrs. Kell that we have another boy. Well, we was happy that we have 2 boys, and then you was growing up, and then you was still the little baby yet. When you get a whooping cough, you was you was so sick.
Nearly passed away. He was just shaking.
This was before Ted came along.
You were before,
Okay.
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
And we nearly lost you in that whooping cough because you was coughing and then there was stopping here and you get blue. And I was shaking and Dad was running to next door to phone for a doctor. Well, when the doctor come, you just sweat. You know, just sweat and coming back, breathing. Well, you scare us to death. And you're not only that, but the diarrhea gets you. And the doctor come every day and give me different medicine. And I was fitting you with one thing with another, and that doesn't help at all.
So Mrs.
And then the lady come in with the milk, and she heard they wasn't going to the house with the milk. They wasn't living like an outside, but she hear the baby crying in the house. You see, this lady that she was bringing There was named Mrs. Garlic.
Gar-
She brought, yeah,
Garlic?
Garlic. She brought the milk, and then there was quiet one night when she brought the milk. And she opened the door and says, Mrs. Garden, how's your baby? He's getting better or things like that? I says, he's hardly could cry anymore. I don't know, is that milk or what is that really get him that way? And she says to me, don't give him milk. She says, boil the rice, copper rice, and lots of water. Give a little bit to that water crown syrup to sweeten up a little bit. And don't give him nothing else, just that. Well, I did that right away. I did that. And he was asleep a little bit that night. And the next day, the doctor don't even call that day anymore. He was expecting
every day.
You already
Until you be
pass away. And, well,
escape one
there
day.
was 2 days. He didn't come. I think the 3rd day he came. He came, and I gave you that bottle, and you fell asleep. And when he came, he looked to the crib, and you kind of a smile in your sleep,
And there's difference in the face.
Right.
you know? And he says,
What you done to me?
what you done to that baby? I tried so hard. I didn't think I'm going to see him alive. I said what I did.
The lady.
And he said, you know, those ladies, I says, this lady, she raised 7 children. And she gave me this idea. And he says, you didn't give him nothing beside? I says, no, just the water from the rice and sweeten it a little bit with the crown syrup. Well, then you come back to life and relieve us a little bit. And as usual, you was a baby that he wasn't fussy, he was eat good, and he was drink whatever I give you, tomato juice, or give you the bottle, or give you the juice, any kind. You drink, you was like a pack of ice.
Vodka.
Yeah, you was the biggest baby that in your age. And then you grow for years later. Well, we kind of planning and not planning, but we wanted the girl.
Yeah.
See? Really, we wanted the girl. And if that happened, that would be okay. Maybe there would be a girl. And that did happen. And for years after you was already like that, another French girl was on a bed in my room, and she says, you don't have any babies anymore. Mine not even 2-year-old. I have another one. The French lady, you know. And look, you was big boy and 4-year-old, you know. So, and then Ted come. The doctor was the day before I have him. I wasn't feel very good, and I thought, well, I'm gonna let doctor say something what he think. And he says, oh, that wouldn't be maybe for another week or so. And then the next day, I call him. Dad called him, I think.
Dad.
And Dr. Leggett come.
Right.
Peter have a Dr. Mann.
Right.
And you get Dr. Leggett, and Ted has Dr. Leggett. And he took me in his car with you, and with Ted the same thing. Not Peter.
With Peter too. He come and get all the.
And he says to Dad,
I bring you
Nick,
the boy.
another boy coming. I was mad at him, I guess. But he got 7 girls of his own,
Right.
Dr. Leggett, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, that's happened. And I says, now what I gonna do? I got lots of things for baby, for a girl. Well, anyways, I could use it. So we get Ted. And Ted was a little bit on a non-healthy side. He wouldn't eat anything, just drink the milk. He don't touch it anything from food. Just the milk and milk and milk. Well, he got so pale, and his even teeth start to get kind of dark. And, well, I see that something not right. Then I was talking with lots of different people, and I was
That's
talking.
already was in St. Catharines.
Yeah, we were still on over that store in Russell. And I called
He
this
was working
Dr.
in the
Wobber, German guy.
Mhm.
They used to say he's from the children.
Pediatrician.
He's the best
children
one
doctor.
that you could have.
Right.
And I told him all the problem that I have with him. And I says, I don't know anymore what to do with that baby. And he says, well, good thing that you told me. I know what to do, you know? So,
He was confident. that
you
he
know,
knew what to do, yeah.
confidence. So he
Bill Bottle.
bother when he examined him, and he give a medicine, a little black bottle, and he says give him 1 teaspoon every day. But don't give him milk, not the bad. Give him coffee. Give him food, but keep away milk from him, because his blood turned to milk. And then, maybe a month later, he come like a different kid.
More color, a little more meat
More
on him.
color, more
Never can sit down
energy.
and still. Quiet. Always
ambition, more.
Go.
And that was the right point that we did it. We might even was lose him because I don't know anymore what to do. I talk to people who, you know.
But the people were saying we got the doctor here just for children.
Yeah. So he wake him up, and he was growing and so thin.
Mm-hmm.
Ted was.
Right.
Even he when he graduated from the school, what the name? That's
Robert Land?
Robert Land. He was the smallest boy in a group. And, you know, they invite the parents for that occasion, and him and the Miller's boy, Joey.
Joe.
And I wasn't proud of that why did I, where did I fail that because you two was really husky kids when they grow up. Ted, I can help him anyway. I went again to this doctor, to St. Catherine. We was already in Hamilton with Ted. And they asked him to take all the clothes. He was so embarrassed, you know. He was tall, but skinny as a toothpick.
How old would he have been at the time now when you've done that?
Oh, about 8, 9 year old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can remember Ted.
And
what
he
looked like.
said, yeah, the doctor says he's a healthy boy, that you want him a little bit
On the fat
flesh on the fat side, you could maybe have his tonsil out, that he might have more appetite to eat. Well, that was wrong, that he told me. He says, I got the doctor that I could contact him in Hamilton, that he could do it for him.
Right.
But I see he never complained anything.
Right.
Why should I get him to the doctor?
Operation for that.
Yeah. And then later on, I don't know who I was talking to on the telephone, and I forget that he was somewhere in the house, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, well, I have 3 boys, and they all healthy and that, but the first 2, I says, they was good eater, and they was really built up good and everything. But this one, I says, I don't know what's the matter. He's as skinny as a toothpick, and I can't help him with anything. And he heard that.
Right.
From that time, he got enough in there that every night he take a bag of chips, potato chips,
Right.
and Pepsi, and just like you was doing too,
Mm-hmm.
and sit down and reading something and drink and eat the potato chips. From that time on, he still was just stretching.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, he was
Right.
stretching for until he was 17, 18. But he got better appetite. He eat a little bit more.
Participate in baseball. He was in sports.
He was in sports. He got lots of exercise, and they was even jealous that he was the youngest one in that group,
Mm-hmm.
and they was calling him names. I heard. I don't like it, but he didn't mind. And that was happened to Ted until he was maybe 20. 19, 20. He started working harder. He worked at home, and he worked spare time somewhere there and there, like moving truck he was working with,
Mm-hmm.
and I was feel sorry for him that he's too young to go on, but he wanted to. He wanted to learn something, to go out to work.
You want to get money
And
too.
look at him today. He don't look like a toothpick, skinny. He grew to be the most handsome and well-built man I ever see. Which I proud of all 3 of them. They was our kids, and they was doing the right thing, and they never done anything to
So mom give up on the girl, on the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
embarrass us. So we satisfied with the 3 boys until we start to having the granddaughters, which come in later.
Mm-hmm.
From the first one,
That was a special treat.
3 granddaughters, and
So they
from
all
the
have
second
a
one,
daughter.
well, we didn't have no daughters, but we have 2 sons from the Stefan, if you know him.
Yeah, I know. Nice guy.
And from Ted, we was lucky enough to have 4 granddaughters with the beautiful, the good kids, and we're proud of them. So I think that's enough for me.
Well, okay. There's so much you can talk about for each, but the things I wonder about, like you gave a good idea of some of the problems I had when I was growing up, the whooping cough, some problems Ted had. Peter didn't seem to have too many medical problems. He was just a fussy eater.
There wasn't anything that was kind of harmless.
No, but it was
too
more
much.
of the fussy
It's
stuff,
a cold
bothersome.
stuff
Yeah, okay.
like that.
In terms of the delivery, was the first one the most difficult because it was the first, or was one delivery more difficult than the other because you weren't feeling well?
Well, delivery, there was. I have a lots of problem when I
Just get in.
get in on a family because I was already 28 year, no 27-year old,
Mm-hmm.
and I can eat nothing that would stay there. I was
Well, that's
what
what
I
the Peter
eat,
works for.
just threw it out, just taken in and threw it out, and that was for more than 3 months
Mm-hmm.
before Peter make a place for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so sick that lots of people says I might die because no food was
Right.
holding there. And then Dr. Leggett was coming and give me a little idea to get a bottle of hospital brandy.
Mm.
And before I could eat something that I would wanted to eat, get a little bit of brandy. So Kitka came and took me to her place because here those smells from the donuts fry and that smell, that was killing
Getting to
me.
you.
I can't take it, none of that. So Kitka get me to her place for a week or two. And she gave me, that's what I was using, a little bit of the brandy before I bite anything. And from time to time, that stay a little bit, and stay a little bit.
Take nearly 3 months until it's gone through the
Right.
out, no more.
And then when I carry him, I was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I was healthy. Only my
Ankles were
my
swollen.
feet was swollen that I was taking number 8 slippers
Uh-huh.
to be around because I work at the same time, and that wasn't easy. A special summer, there was hot summer, and you in a baker shop, and this is hotter than that. And one night, Mr. and Mrs. Shanowski came not to visit, to buy something, and we sit down on Barella's corner, their steps, and we talk there, and late at night because it was too hot to go to bed. And bed was just a wall from the baker shop.
Mhm.
There was only 2 rooms there in the back,
Kitchen
So,
and bathroom.
we stayed there long enough, and then
That's only Peter was born.
the next
Varela played, but he was
next morning, about 6 o'clock, hey, I feel something
Moving.
uncomfortable. And there was water breakdown, and we called Dr. Mann. Wick introduced us to Dr. Mann. He was the head doctor in the Yurko Falls
Mm-hmm.
hospital. And he come and he get me in his car and bring me to the hospital. So from 6 o'clock, about 10:30
Says, okay,
in the morning, Peter came.
Right. Dad was at home at the time?
Well, he was
of course,
a baker
yeah, he
shop.
had a lot of business to do there, yeah.
Yeah,
So he come to pick Mama up
Right?
to the hospital.
yeah.
And
So-
he says to me, Nick, I'm gonna bring you some.
Anyways,
So there- This is that it happened.
one day nobody come to visit me.
Well, Raifta come.
I don't know that was first day.
So she
Maybe.
come.
Yeah, Kitka came
She come
to
and she
baker
says,
shop and she find out that I'm not home.
Right?
I'm in a hospital. And she come, that wanna say ahead me.
right.
She come and see the baby, and Peter, he was born with a full head of black hair,
Right?
you know,
Yeah?
funny. And he was really dark, and I says, well, what's that baby gonna look like when he grow up? Anyways,
So
I was sick and I don't care anymore what he
Get
looks
the
like
baby.
or anything.
She gets
But Kitka came later. And they brought me to nurse him afternoon,
Uh-huh.
and she see it. She see Peter. And she come to Dad out of there
come to the baker shop.
to the baker shop, and he says, she told you what?
Now I'm gonna say.
Dad's been really trying to get a word in here, Edrosh.
She says, that's not Gaudun. That's Hrichuk. Because that's okay. That's different. Why? Because he even this, because that's on our side was
You
big
big
people,
tall people, yeah.
and they were short. I figured, what the difference? That's still
It's a joint effort between the two of you.
So that was
That was hurting him. He always
no, not here.
Peter
Then-
Hrichuk.
Then next day, she gonna stay in the baker shop because I can't close the door. You know that's
Right.
business. And I go, so I come to the hospital, and doctor on the corridor meet me. He says, "You see your baby?" I says, "No." He says, "Come on with me." So he bring me to that room where all the kids around, you know, there are not only one, there are
Right.
so many. He says, "Just a minute. It's supposed to be tag, but he hid the tag. He took it off before.
Right.
now they put a little thing.
Sure,
on the
that he
rest.
wanted to see if you knew.
He says, but I was too smart for watching which way he go first to. He come in and says, no, it's not the one. I can't find the tag. Go that way. Which one can be? I says, that one there. And that was Peter.
Uh-huh.
He was
Well,
always with his
Why
Kitka
hair.
you-
told you they had a hair, didn't she?
Because I know that because where he was look first, he was
Oh.
I followed that have to be Peter because and now he went farther. He says that one, no that. So he says, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I come in home, do my work, yes. So then Wicker come and relieve me another days or two. So I went, but I couldn't get much visit.
Right?
So
Yeah, that was the first one. With the second one, we have to get somebody to be in a baker shop to
Right.
let that
and
come.
your fellow was there,
Right.
and the salesman used to be so nice fellows, always like to pick you up, you know, you
Right.
and Peter. And he says to Mom, what do you feed those guys for? They so heavy like a rock, you know,
Right.
because you was
Very
And
sturdy.
Peter, too.
Yeah.
only Ted was skinny,
Yeah.
because he was needed that what medicine the doctor
That he got in
prescribed
St.
in
Catharines,
St. Catherine already. And he still was working in the St. Catherine in the store like this. So, was so pale. Soon that doctor gave that little bottle and put it the way.
Сідайте, можу показати так.
So that way,
Okay,
he
сідайте.
start to be from that bottle. Never can sit down at all, just going all the time, full of life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was a little still skinny. Mama was not only satisfied that he don't come so heavy like you fellow was, Peter and you. And went to him. He says, could be maybe cancer. Nothing wrong. He's a perfect. But she says too skinny.
Mm-hmm.
She liked the beef.
Sure. Old country tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a kind of a feeling that I failed to be a good mother because I didn't do something right for the kid, that he doesn't develop the things that the kid should be getting.
Well, we're all well developed now, you can see. No problem with any of us being too skinny.
So Peter,
No.
when the school has a teacher,
They're a little bit overdue.
A little too healthy these days. He's trying to be a little less. Oh, sure. Yeah, we have to watch.
But Marilyn, she's very good cook.
Oh, yeah.
And she's lots of sweetness in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very sweet family.
He likes that, yeah.
Right.
Because that's a kids. You have to prepare for the kids, and he's just like a kid too. He wanted.
Okay, so in terms of the kids, you mentioned that it was difficult because Peter was the first one, so you went through all that 3 months of getting used to having a baby. But in terms of the actual delivery, did it get easier after Peter?
Well, yeah, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah. Right.
But there was lady next to my room. Wow, she was making. She came from Poland, and she married the Italian fellow Marchesini.
Uh-huh.
And they all was like a family to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we both was in that hospital. She make it nice to all hospital. Well, I was keeping the noise, but that's not easy thing to go through life. But if you done, you never regrets, because you really have something.
And was happy to get you fellows.
Lots of people used to really like our friends and they was thinking we have a big family to support, but really Kum, that was your батько, he used to say Гаудун розчиняє, йому все росте. Знаєш, що це розчиняє?
No, I don't know Russian.
Started the dough.
Oh, right.
You know?
Okay.
And he says
everything rises
grows
up.
for him. And yeah, we wasn't both of us wasn't scared that you be hungry because we was making the bread.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a bread, well, we find
There
something
was not
to
only
go
bread,
with.
there was a pie, there was a donut, there was a...
Yeah.
Okay, we were well fed.
But there was hard already on all of you three already to look after you.
That's right. Yeah.
And do every minute that lots of time mad come into the house and I still give you one of you bath, and after that I have to wash it all that and put it outside in the line during the winter time. That was hard. That wasn't no how you call it, those
Automatic washer and dryers or
not
things.
washer, but
Not even the spin, the Yeah, I know what you're talking. Washing machine.
It was all with the hands.
Yeah.
That I was doing. And he come, what you doing that long here? I needed there to do this, to help me that. So I was doing, and my hands is trembling, and I threw that one on a line on a back and put you to sleep, give you a bottle, and leave you alone in the house, and go to baker shop to help that. And that was with the one, with another, with the third. But when three of you already, I couldn't do there and there that much, because that much thing to wash, that much thing to feed, that much thing to look over, to not get some on the road and get hit or something. And yeah,
So
there
you
was a
was
time.
Mrs. Baker, that's all.
Okay, but what you're telling me now sort of makes sense from what I've heard before, because, and I don't want to get into the story, Dad, but you said how hard it was on you near the end of the war working in that bakery. You were wearing yourself out. But with Ma with 3 kids, that added another thing. You were not only busy in the bakery, Ma had 3 kids, and it was hard on both of you. You had a lot of work to do.
It was hard for her to give me help.
Right.
You see, I needed their help, and she needed their.
Right. And that probably led to the decision to go on to other things, because it was just too much for you.
Well, then Dad started to sapping. You know, already, no, that was already in Hamilton. But, yeah. In baker shop, he was working in Montreal, and then on his own for 14 years.
Right.
And then he was hard to breathe, just like me now. I take a pills now that I'm very short breathing. Yeah. And that he get that way. And the doctor there told you that you have to change the job if you want to live, because that flour gets
Get
to
the
you
lung.
long.
All right.
Desabusa
No,
to. Desatone huwa.
No. I just
Desabusa to.
remember that I already feel on my crazy, on my back, really wear out.
Yeah. So if he said that, we already have our mind that have to be some kind of a change, to take a baker in and put him out, or changing around. And then that guy coming, that Frenchman, those days exactly, and asked that he would want it to change, to sell, because maybe
let
that's
me
get
say.
hard.
Yeah, but we're not going to get into that story, Dad. We've got that story on tape.
He
We
got
got that
that
one on tape.
tape.
We're concentrating on the kids at this point, okay?
Yeah.
But that it all ties in. That's why we eventually were able to move down to St. Catharines, where that was not too far away from Kitkunawiko and all that stuff, and other people. A lot of people from the north had moved down. Some of the people had moved down.
Lots of people from north moved to Toronto and Hamilton and St. Catherine, and lots of people we was meeting here that we know them from Timmins, because they wasn't happy to work there on a mining, all their life, because lots of them, they have some kind of disease from the mine.
Yeah, that's right.
And they was looking for a different job to change it.
Yeah.
So we have to did that too. Work there on a mining, all their life, because lots of them, they have some kind of disease from the mine.
Yeah, that's right.
And they was looking for a different job to change it.
Yeah.
So we have to did that too. Except Dad was already ready to do that, and I wasn't.
Right.
Because I said three kids, and we have such a good business, and we went through so much to build that. Now to leave it and go where? To do what? with the family like
No,
ours.
I got
Right.
my plan.
Yeah, it was just a little too unsure for you. You didn't. You were going from something, and you weren't
So
too
we
sure
went
what you were
for
going.
holiday to St. Catherine.
Right,
For holiday.
right,
To Kitka. We put the girl in the baker shop and to work, and Christy was supposed to supply the bread
right.
there, and we went for 1 week out of that baker shop to
Right.
St. Catherine.
Yeah.
And we looking around, and we
Found the big
found
groceries.
the grocery that was for sale. Mr. Metcalf has a grocery for sale on Russell Street
Right.
in St. Catherine. And we look over, and they wanted 11,000, I think. Or
Yeah, but I had
we
to put
give
them.
it 11,000, I think.
Lamb, damn.
I think 11,
No,
well,
10.
10 or 11. Anyways, we thought grocery that wouldn't be flour,
Right.
that we're gonna work,
You don't have to work as
Start
hard
to
at
work.
that.
because that's just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sale.
Stocking the shelves, yeah.
Everything crazy.
There I have
We
to put
tried
groceries.
that, and that was the time that we have to get lots of coupon. There was everything
Oh,
cut rash.
the ration coupon.
And we have to get a coupon for tea, for a coffee, for a sugar, for a
Mostly
meat,
for meat.
for a meat. Those all
Coconut.
coupons, if you collect it, you can have it. If you didn't collect it, those coupons,
You can't buy the
you
good.
can buy for your money anything that you really needed in a store. So we're running that for half a year, the way there was.
There was the way.
And then we thought that's too much of the problem because of that coupons
was-
and
yeah.
that rationing.
Not
Yeah.
only that, but the credit.
Yeah. Oh, that. Okay. We did get this on when we did St. Catherine's. We did talk about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're
finish.
we're gonna finish
Cash
that.
and carry.
We're gonna go back a little bit and talk about when the second child came on the scene. That changed things, as you said. Peter nearly dropped me, and he was so happy to show me to some neighbor, and Peter and I had an interesting relationship together. How did Peter and I get along before Ted appeared on the scene? How did that work out?
Oh, it was very good.
Uh-huh.
He was so proud of you that he has a brother, and he was showing everybody, and yeah. And you was for him too.
Oh, never
Yeah,
touch people.
yeah. One day he went,
This is
he went,
yeah,
and he nearly got frozen.
right,
I bought him the kind of felt boots
right,
to keep him warm, you
Right.
know. And he went with his friend. He was a little fellow yet, and there was
Nearly got
already
lost.
nearly night. We couldn't see. I don't know where he is, and I don't know where to look for him. Then he come, and I get so mad I gonna make him hot right here
right.
in the kitchen. And you see me, don't hit my brother. I said,
Mama, you
don't,
gave him
I
a slap.
still, yeah.
And that's when I made my big
When-
mistake.
and you took the, yeah, bushy with the
Come
wood.
and threw the mama. And I says, and I grab you back and I give you them. I says, don't you do that anymore.
I hope you weren't laughing at the time.
And he was nearly frozen, his feet and everything. He was
deserved to
awful.
get that one licking.
This was in the middle of winter or something, or just you just were
That
worried.
was in the middle of the winter, and there the winter
Yeah.
was a winter.
Yeah.
There was below 40 nearly every day.
And
There was-
he would have only been he'd still be fairly young.
Well, when you
Well,
was
about as
already
2, he would
walking,
be 8.
about 7, 8.
Yeah.
That's all.
Right.
So he deserved the spanking.
Okay, so we got along well together, and I think you told me before that because I came on the scene, though before he could talk with English to kids out there, now there was more English going on because we would start speaking to each other in English rather than Ukrainian.
Well, we send you to school to learn Ukrainian because we talk English at stores, and we talk English to people, and you have no way, even to that I have to talk English because somebody else listening. And that's how you didn't learn really Ukrainian language, because we was going to sleep 10 o'clock at night, all wore out, that we got no time to talk.
Right.
See, that Peter was
And that
speak
was-
both
yeah.
language from the carriage you get out.
Mm-hmm.
Because only we have to explain him which one Ukrainian and which one is talk to English.
Right.
So that was Wiko. All Ukrainian was Wiko.
And you remember, he was
And English, that will be.
he was 15-year-old when we went for a trip. You, Peter, and I,
Right.
north.
That's right.
And I just
Chauffeur, he was already.
15-year-old he
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Driving a green Pontiac. was it?
Brand new green Pontiac.
Right.
And we went up north, that when he come back, he cries
About
to
Ansonville.
go back to Ansonville.
Uh-huh.
Because all friends just come and scoop him like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you want him back. And he come and cry. He says, why we come to this hole?
Well, he don't
We
like
have a
he
so
don't
good
like
business because the people
uh,
do.
those Italians that they was bunching up there, and they
They was
was
swearing. And
Right.
talk dirty, and he don't like it.
it
then.
wasn't like that one because
He says,
now
I don't
he
like to
doesn't.
have a friends like this. They talk about their parents, them, you know,
And then
that's
swear.
really
Swear.
bad.
And,
So he want to go
he
back to
never-
Ansonville because there everybody likes
I
him.
says, well, no, you have to be here because if you want to go high school, there was no high school in the Yurko Falls. Just
You'd
one.
probably have to travel to another town by bus.
Have to go to
Yeah.
there.
To another
Toronto.
town in Bullshit, the high school there. There was for 2 years in Yurko Falls. But Ansonville, they just have
Right.
the public
Right.
school.
Yeah, but they're not a big place. It wouldn't have been that difficult to get from one to the other. Okay, but anyway, as you said, when I came along, then that changed things. And then, of course, when Ted came along, can you remember the three of us, how we got along in Ansonville?
you was closer to Ted than you was fighting with Peter when you growing up a little higher.
Yeah, okay.
You start to
Because
bossing around.
you
and that
start
was a shame to be bossed.
to bossing Peter
the old
around.
one.
What you wanted on a television,
Oh, now
you have
the
to get.
Hamilton. Okay, that was in
Uh-huh.
Hamilton, right.
that was you.
Okay, tell me what happened. How do you remember that? We had arguments around the television, right?
Yeah. I wanted one, you wanted another, and Peter wanted sports,
Uh-huh.
as usual.
Right.
Well,
So Peter
what I
had
was-
to give
what
up
I
and
was-
go outside
and he was
because
crying.
on account of you.
and then
Peter was crying?
oh yeah.
Boy.
And then I make a decision. I says, nobody watching the television. Just put it off. And nobody can touch it.
Uh-huh.
If
And
you're
then
gonna
you
fight.
come around and you beg you'll be okay. Now, everybody can watch everything that comes around.
He
So
wants,
that was, yeah, you was a little
he wants
rough
some
on
story.
Peter. wasn't
Rough on Peter. You want to hear my story?
you? Yeah.
Peter said to me, he said, we argue about what we watch on television? Come down in the basement and we'll settle this argument. Now, Peter was 6 years older than me. I didn't want to go down in the basement and have him settle the argument. So he must have stopped crying at that time.
Yeah, yeah,
He just walk away. Soon he,
yeah.
because we're not going to allow you to fight the ground.
Uh-huh.
So we just dress up, we go.
Okay, when we talk about, let's say, we're still thinking about Peter. When we go to St. Catherine's, Peter had a number of friends there, right? How did?
Well, when we were living, so we lived for 2 years in St. Catherine.
And what were some of his friends, and how did he get along? Can you remember that?
Oh, he was very good with that.
Arnie.
Arnie, yeah. Arnie. They was going. Well, they was in the same room in a school, and he got to be a really good friend. And then, with that good friend, they were escaping the school and go to Schouder instead.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And I was on a bus one day, and then I meet the professor from that school, and he recognized me.
Would this be from the high school?
No.
Still public school.
It was still public school.
Yeah.
And he recognized me, and he says, "Did you know where Peter is?" I says, "I thought you know where Peter is, because it's supposed to be you went to school today. Didn't you know?" I says, "To know I what?" "Well, Peter and Arnie didn't come to school today." I says, "You really talk to me? That's true?" He says, "Yes. Did you know where they are?" I says, "You didn't know, and I didn't know where that would be." And then I find out that they decide to go to some show they wanted to see. Well, that's once happened in St. Catherine that for Peter, that he escaped the school one time because his friend wanted to do that, and that friend of his was spoiled child. There was only one in the family, and he was a wild kid. Once or twice Peter met him, and they talk about it. He didn't go to higher school or anything, and he was just nobody, later in life.
But Peter went through.
And Peter, the guy who skipped school, became a teacher.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, I feel sorry for him. He was a smart boy." Well, I says he was too unmanaged, more you could say.
Yeah.
And the one kid could be spoiled that they don't even good for themselves, because always somebody else taking care of him.
Yeah, okay, so that was Arnie. That was his best friend in St. Catherine's, and then we came to Hamilton. Peter would have gone to Robert Land for a while. Do you remember any of his friends?
Yeah, I remember friends, but I don't think I could tell you the names. From the high school already, he was bringing in fellas that they went farther.
Oh, Ed Gretzky.
And they even judges today that they bring it for dinner.
Right.
Like, he come home for dinner and he invite anybody that's with him.
Sure.
And this was a kind of a one fella. Peter could tell the
Borkovich
name.
or?
But I think
something like that,
Borkovich.
yeah.
And I have a chicken soup and for dinner and something else there. And he ate with us, and he says, "Well, my mother, if she would make it stronger. She would put more salt or something. Yours is kind of mild." Well, I said, "Yes, every mother make it her own ways." Yeah, Borkovich, he was bringing it here to dinner with him. He was bringing it out another fella like I said, I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember Gretzik. I remember bringing a few.
Gretzik was coming
A few girls.
more often
Yeah,
than
they
that.
sometimes brought some girls home. But this is maybe after 16 or something.
Oh yeah, he was going for a few girls.
Those girls was more after him than he was after the girls.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Before he was 15, he went to there was carnival there on Burlington Street. Yeah. And he was there having ride, whatever, and then two girls brought him home. Two of them. One on the one side and one on the other side. And one of them was the girl from the Wentworth. Her name was, can I remember her name? And another girl was after Peter.
Yeah.
Very much. Well, and then he started to, when you and your dad went to America to look for, to find Uncle Peter.
Right.
And Peter and I was handled the store.
Right.
And one Sunday, he went with the boys to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I, think, right, sure, what I am not going to keep them with me, let them have a good time.
Right.
There, some Hungarian girl find him, or he find her, and the children come back all, I see them around, the children from the neighborhood, and Peter is not home, and that's getting darker. And I thought they went to beach, maybe he drowned. And you are not home, and I go crazy.
Right.
I don't know where to look for Peter. So, and then when the dark, really dark, he comes with the car. With the car? No, you took the car. Yeah,
right.
He comes home. And he said, well, Mom, I met the girl on the beach. And we was talking and batting and all that, so that's why I'm that late. He says, but didn't you know that Mama worries about you? That you went to beach, you could be happening anything to you. You don't know how to swim. You could be drowned even, and you think I can take that one?
So what you
Well, but he told me about the girl and that girl start to phone him day after day. I'm busy in a store. There's a ring. She want to talk to Peter. And Peter in the school. And I get on my nerve. I said, well, if you could do something about that girl to not bother me every day here to phone, I'd be happy about that. Would you really give her engagement ring or something? He says, yeah, she's kind of persistent. Well, I don't know how we get through with that girl. And then another girl from Wentworth, you see, I still can't remember her name. Well, he goes to school. He was what? Dolores. Now, yeah, that Dolores was going to school with Peter. Her parents every weekend, both of them go to Wentworth Hotel.
Every day, not
Yeah.
And they just have that one girl. She was a good-looking girl.
Right.
And she really was following him.
The smart girl was.
He waiting for her, and then they go hand by hand to school. Well, that wasn't that bad. But later on, her parents come in. And and they start to accuse him that he's tied up to mommy's apron string, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I get mad. I think that kid, he and her goes to school. What they know about the life that they would tell me that already I kept them on my apron string.
Yes.
That there's lots to do there. We have to all do something and keep the school, not just fall in love and what. Then I wasn't that happy that he go with that girl because parents was pressing that they growing up.
I thought it was a good thing. Let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, then Christmas come. And she buy him a sweater for Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
He was afraid to talk to Dad about it. And he went, you know where the basement was from outside to the other basement?
Yeah.
That steps downstairs,
Sure.
and there was a big furnace.
Very well.
And I went there to put something in furnace, and I see in a bushel, and there is a sweater, new sweater, in a bushel beside the furnace. And I says, anybody knows who keep the new clothes close to the furnace there? And he says, shh, Daddy gonna hear. Well, that's Dolores bought me a sweater for Christmas present. And I don't want to put it on because I know you're going to ask me where I got the sweater from, you know. So you tell me what I can buy for her. Because I want to give her something for that sweater, but he was afraid to wear it. Well, I say, look at her. If she having got something that you think she might wear, then buy her something. I don't know what he bought her, but he exchanged the Christmas present. Well, and then he growing up a little bit more, he started to go to these dances. And the Holy Ghost was every Sunday that time, dance.
Right.
For a young people. He was going there, and that's where he met Carol. And Carol, she was so, she never talks to anybody.
She's so smart. She was.
And one time I was walking on a Barton, and she passed me by. She didn't see a boo, and I know her already, and she knows me. And I talked to Peter later. I says, Peter, how you could love someone like that? And he says, like what? She said she was passing by me and she didn't even say hello. You know, I recognize her and I think she knows me, but she just passed by. And he said, she talked a lot, but she talked to me. And she was like that. She was.
Mama was thinking how he can like the girl.
Well, the rest of the things you know, so I didn't have to tell you.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look.
Carol
yeah?
was pretty smart.
Yeah. Right.
She watched what he was saying. And
Yeah. She wasn't talking. She either even now. She would come and sit down and listen.
A good listener. That's what a nurse should be. The nurse has got to be a good listener.
Listen.
Yeah. And when I talk to her, I can always kid her about the famous sausages.
Yeah. I make it to the net for you, but you wasn't satisfied with that. You wanted something hot.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah, she did it all right.
not the one was not satisfied, but one see what they can have something different.
Right.
Well, satisfying. She wanted to satisfy her boyfriend.
Well, she certainly improved from the sausages, I'll tell you that. Jeez.
And I just was telling you the story on our way to that place that we was driving to, where we was going to, Detroit, I think. Yeah. And I see in one place we thought we might as well coming back because there was heavy cloud from there. And we thought we just might as well turn around and go back home. Something like that I mentioned to you. And you says, wow, that's a good thing you did. You did turn back. I says, why? Well, you explain why. She says, Carol was doing the dinner.
Oh.
What?
That led to the black cloud, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. One thing, it's interesting because people, if you read things about raising children, they usually say that the oldest child is usually the more independent and the one who usually is doing the thing the first time. So they usually give their parents sometimes more trouble. And the parents are parents for the first time, so they're more inexperienced of how to handle these things.
Yeah.
So I think, especially, well, you mentioned one problem in St. Catharines with Arnie and all that, and when he was playing truant. But I remember in Hamilton, as he was getting to the age of driving a car and him coming in late at night, sometimes Ted and I would be sleeping in our room. I remember the time I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, and then I heard Ted and I heard footsteps coming from Ma and Dad's room, and the footsteps from Ma and Dad's room met the footsteps coming up the stairs. And
he was coming to give him licking, and I was coming to protect him.
Right, that was, I'm sure, a little hot.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember that, Dad?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Did that happen more than once?
Well, not very many times, no, after that.
We certainly didn't try that.
After that, there wasn't many times, no. But yeah, he...
But I was doing the way my father told us to my mother. If they don't do right, never hit my kids here or there, just up there.
Yeah, but Peter, you didn't hit there. You hit them here.
No, sorry.
Oh, yes, sorry.
No. You did no.
Then
I took the strap and I gave him right there. Na sraku, dobro. And that was...
But that was scary. There was new viewer.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And new kid.
Right.
Not practice
Right.
either
Yeah.
way. Yes.
Oh, he was still on the learners.
Well, yes.
And he's supposed to be driving with a person who has a
That's
program.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And he would do things like that, you know. And you scare wow, you scared the wits out of the parents.
Yeah.
We was running around, and then nowhere he comes. He come after 1 o'clock or something.
Oh, late.
In the morning.
And he was about still 15 or 16? How old was
Well,
he?
yeah,
Around that.
Around there.
Yeah.
He started very young to have
Even the neighbors was accusing us that we give it the car like that to the kids to running, you know.
Yeah.
Special those chirpers.
Chirpers from the England. They was across the road.
Brecon, Pride, and all those?
Not Brecon, no.
Pride.
There was a whole bunch of them, one family. And they was living upstairs, one family, upstairs another family. They're all for rent, those houses.
Right.
And they was, well, they was our customers. And then after that, when they see what the Peter do, they was coming and they says that's not the way to let the kid driving the car like that, well, they give you advice more.
Well,
They're not exactly.
well, there's always the question of how much, how early, or how much freedom.
Even there was Car Secure, what the Galan company here there was in Hamilton, and he come to our place and he cut off the insurance because somebody
phoned.
and report that kids playing around with the car,
Ah.
and we have to lose that insurance man.
Right.
There was Ukrainian guy,
Uh-huh.
and he was on TV, he was on a radio, this Galan,
Yeah.
that he was well known here,
Right.
So he come to our store and he,
Well, he canceled, so I don't care. So then I just get another one insurance.
Right.
I never give him business anymore. And then
yeah, because he was handle our business, we used to give it, the Christmas,
advertising for the
not advertising, but like a gratulation to our customers.
Right.
And names, the names they was mentioned. Even Harris, that Harris find out that we are in Hamilton from the radio that
Oh,
they says
right.
that
From the
Nick-
Ukrainian
Nick
program.
Dalton
probably,
Grocery,
yeah.
And we was giving that he was collecting the money for that.
Right.
That's not nothing for nothing.
Right.
And then he lost us, we lost him because of Peter and the car.
the cost of that chairperson. There was a report.
They was down there,
Oh, sure.
whatever.
But so Peter gave you a lot of trouble. We know that. But he was also doing a lot. He worked a lot in the store and was
He
doing.
don't give much trouble. He was also doing.
Just though he was a kid that he wanted to do
Yeah.
what he wanted
He will
to
test it out. Yeah.
do. Yeah.
But it was the other way. He was pretty good.
The other was, he was a young, but he was pretty old there.
Uh-huh.
What he wanted to do,
Right.
he would do. Doesn't matter how way he squeezed, but he wanted to do that
Right.
on his own.
Yeah.
But I was sneaky too. I says, he already, Carol was moved to Toronto from Hamilton,
Mhm.
for the job.
Right.
From hospital.
It's not she was attending the school there,
No,
but
no.
they was testing her in Toronto
Okay.
more or
And
less.
then Peter says, Deb, can I have a car to go? There will be some on the mountain, because we still were down. Dance or something. I says,
Some
okay.
party.
But-
He was advisor.
But I expect him that he wants to go see Carol in Toronto.
Uh-huh.
And I went to the speedometer, mark it down how many miles.
Right.
When in the morning he come, I look, I see that's over 100 miles.
Right.
Just to the mountain and down.
Must have took the long way.
Peter, how that happened? From mountain, that one, they put it there.
But he wasn't as tough as somebody I see.
But
From
I
the young
don't punish
kid.
him there.
He give up right away.
He didn't try to lie his
No,
way out of it.
no,
You got
never.
him, he told you. Yeah.
Never. No, he didn't do that. Not much. No.
So he says he went to see the cat.
I might as well tell you. That's what happened. And that one was satisfied me because he didn't lie.
Right. He
So-
owned up to it, right.
But he realized he can fool us.
Well, I'm sure he got away with a
I
few
don't
things.
know.
I'm sure he might have got away with a few things.
You think he did.
I remember once going to a high school picnic, and the fella with the car started driving the car backwards for about 10 minutes. And I said, what the heck are you doing that for? And on this car, he said he could turn the odometer back, and because his father had also noted down the mileage. But you'd have to drive around in a circle backwards a long time if you want to change the mileage from Toronto. Okay. Well, that gives a fair idea of Peter growing up. Yeah. And then, of course, he tried out for going to the lawyer school for a while, and then he decided
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
To say the truth, that was my fault. I was wish to never have a lawyer, but I have something with the lawyers.
With Fidel.
Business, no, lawyer business. That's what his name was, and I saw how he do the business. You know that. And Peter never registered himself to go further to high school, like, you know.
No, he finished the
He
high
finished
school.
high school, all right.
And he
I have
finished
to take something.
the McMaster.
Right.
And AB, or how you call it, he didn't have any practice.
Yeah.
What is he going to take it?
Right, he just had a general BA degree.
Yeah. And everybody says, you are nothing with this schooling that you
4 years for
spend
nothing if you never go farther.
if you didn't go to finish
Why you was go to?
the touch that you have to have the
So it was bothering me. So I was in the lawyer place and I see he just rocking and around by the table and dictated to the two fellow working for him, the one already finished to be a lawyer, you know, from the. And I look on that one, I figured, Jesus, he could be in Miami, the boss. Those fellow gonna do all the work. If they don't know something, they just phone. He dictated from there what they have to do. So I come in, home, I says, Peter, you don't know yet what you like to take it. How about lawyer? And I was wished to never have a lawyer or peep. Papa.
Right.
And he says, okay. I take that Oldsmobile. That was the biggest car.
That's right.
And go to a register. He went on register, passed 1 year, second year, third year. Already.
third year, I think one subject he didn't make.
No, he made it, but he don't want it. Soon he third year made it, and he have to go forth. He be already a lawyer. And he find out they was bring it to the court already third year. And they say, if you want to be good lawyer, you have to make this fellow guilty, pull him out, and make the other fellow. Peter started to figure, that wouldn't be honest, you know? He's the guilty. I have to pull him out and make the other fellow guilty. He come home and he says, I'm going to quit the law. I don't like that. I says, why? He says, you know me, I'm so honest. How can I make it this fellow? Out, pull out, and put a not guilty one. Make guilty. Now, what's it going to be now? He says, I'm going to take high school. What is
No, he says he's going to take
For phys ed
one
teacher.
more.
Is it?
Yeah.
One
One
more
more
winter
year,
and he'll
that's
be
all I
teacher.
did do that way. Now, I give credit that him thinking right. So, he went good, and Teddy went straight to the job he doing today.
All right.
And Fadak used to have 3 sons, and we have 3 sons. He want us to be with them to do the lawyers.
Right.
He wants us to advertise on the Ukrainian papers,
Right.
and you know, like
Sure.
they would like to
There was
cheer
disappointment.
them up, like.
Why
know?
Peter quit?
Right.
Oh, he
He
passed
said
every year. His
That's
son,
so
another.
easy.
Yeah.
That Eugene,
Well-
he have to send him for a year or two west, where he was going to
finish
school
up.
to finish up
Right.
that
Third
he reached the lawyer.
Mhm.
Peter was ahead of him.
Right.
And he come and you know, now they go at Shechana Wada, you know,
Yeah.
and he come and sit down and says, "Come on, talk about the children,"
Why you?
because we was on the same, you know, the same age even, and he wanted their children to be.
They know we can supply him to send it to higher
He says,
education.
why he give up so easy? And
He was so good.
he was so good. He got a good mark from the Oscar Hall and everything else. He gave us heck because he said you shouldn't let him to do that. He should go and
To be a
to be a lawyer.
right?
Another one more year. What is that?
Right. Sure.
For
when
a
you,
young
When
kid.
you put in 3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So when Peter told me that, when I thought it was on account of Carol,
Mm-hmm.
because he was
That
already
was part of
with
part
the Carol.
of it because yeah.
Maybe he want to get married, so that one. He says, no, that one. I just find out how I can do that kind of job to make this fellow guilty if he's not guilty, and pull the other fellow.
Well, they give the idea. Yeah, there was some story on television. I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago. This guy that he was a play that he's a teacher. He was making them good lawyers. You
Mhm.
know, like he says, you have to be squeezed like a sponge. The man that you can accomplish something. The other way, you wouldn't be making out for your lunch,
You be solid.
you know?
Got to be tough.
He was a really, but he died.
Uh-huh.
Later on, they says he died, that guy. That was shown really, that story that Peter went through, how you have to work to be a good
Right.
lawyer. I don't know how was saying. You didn't talk to him. He come and talk to us. How he enjoyed to be a lawyer. But a lot of people was telling his father, "You want a son to be a lawyer? He never could be a lawyer." And was saying, "Hear that? That's Pastoriga." Was
Oh,
saying,
right.
Pastoriga that we
Yeah.
talk on a New Year.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm going to show them that I'm going to be a lawyer." You know, his father
So he
was
was.
so proud of that son because they just have one daughter and one son. That he really went through, was saying. That wasn't that easy. But he made himself to do it because somebody told him that he wouldn't be able to.
Right.
So he come to be a lawyer. Well, he didn't have his own office. He worked for them to one, one office. How you call it? Just like a
Well, you
Firm
know
of
exactly.
lawyer.
Firm,
Firm of
yeah.
lawyer. Yeah.
firm of lawyers. So that firm of lawyers, where is the Vasey, that they took over our apartment on Barton Street, you know.
Right.
I'm supposed
They-
to take it back
They paid.
with the closure because
See?
they fell about it, and he
And
never
they make a
carrying on
good
the right
decision
paper.
because
Yeah.
And I will
That's
close
worth
it. I
it now
supposed
much.
to take that back.
twice
But
as
those
more,
fellow
or 3
jumped
times more.
him and took it over from the other fellow that
Mm-hmm.
now they payment, nice, never was late, and the other fellow always was behind. So if they never getting in, I will take that apartment back. There was so nice remodeling already. There was there was a big improvement. I would like to have that back. But the fellows paying until
they have that building.
that month was already finished. After the still mortgage was, I have a carry on. Then they want to renew it. I says no. So I told, I want my money. You pay me all if you want to carry on. Because I need some money to help my sons to buy something to, you know. I have this. Okay, so they borrowed some money and they pay me completely. And I already was clean. Don't want to bother with them because I know they're not going to lose like the other fellow. They were going to carry on because there was big improvement on that building now. That building is really nice.
Okay, Dad, sit down on the couch there just for a minute. Well, let's finish the stuff off on Peter. Just sit down there. Come on.
Yeah.
You know the lady there. All right? Okay. So, when so Peter became a phys ed teacher, and he's now just a couple of years before retirement, and he's done well.
And he's very happy with it, that he done it in time, because he says to me later, you know me, I won't be good lawyer at all. I couldn't do that dirty job like that.
So it's worked out pretty good.
So we're happy of him and happy of you after when you find out from Daddy that working that kind of job, the one you have now. So you went for another 4 years, I think, to school.
No. How many years?
Oh, well, let's see. Yeah.
How many years?
Well, okay, I had my 3 years of psychology. I went 1 year for business administration, and then I went for 1 year for teachers college.
Yeah.
Then I taught for 2 years, and then this is the time you think I got the brilliant idea to go into something like Ted did, but Ted's a little different than what I got into. His more is like what Pat does, the psychology thing, testing.
Yeah.
And Briar wanted to get her master's degree in psychology too, but she was interested in social work too, but more, she could have got into the social work school, or she could have gone to psychology. She decided to go into psychology, and I decided to go into social work. So I went into the social work for 2 years, and then I got back with the Board of Education.
You hear that? 2 years, not 4, like you said.
Okay. But anyway, so that's to make a long story short, so that...
Тепер я тебе спитаю, що ти, як ішов до школи знову, for this job that you have, did you have your own money, because you never asked us for money to go back to school?
Yeah, I'd worked for a couple of years.
Yeah, you worked for a couple of years. And that's how you make it out?
Sure.
You did that way.
Yeah, I mean, the tuition, how much we had to pay for the school wasn't, was something like $800.
Yeah,
but the thing is the living, and doing without for 2 years. Yeah, we had enough money to get us through the 2 years, and it worked out not too badly.
Because that's what make me think how you really did.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't ask us for any help that you would need it to go back to school.
Right.
Because you have to live, you have to pay your apartment, you have to, two of you.
Yeah.
So you make it out for the money that you make it for 2 years at Barton.
Yeah, and even my first year of teaching, I went to work during the summer. at Dofasco was the last time I went to work. I was a teacher. I went back to Dofasco as a teacher for the last summer. So.
Well, yeah. This covers up.
So.
Yeah, that was good decision, and looks like you satisfied from the things that you really wanted to do, because we wasn't able to make you doing it anywhere, anytime, because we never went things like that.
Right.
And we didn't have no idea what you really would want it to be. We know you don't want it to be baker.
Yeah.
But Dad have on his mind that he gonna send one of them for pastry. Dad told me that. For pastry, a job to do it, and the other one to make it bread. Well, that one didn't happen because we slided down from that kind of business when you growing up, and you find out what you would want it to do.
No, I want him, all of them, to have a high schooling. That's all. I want them to go.
I want you to be a dentist. I have to.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But
I have in mind.
What you taught us was, I think we saw how hard and how the long hours you had to work, and we knew that since you didn't have much education, you had to work that much harder, that much longer, and so we felt that maybe if we get a better education, maybe we can get a little better job, maybe we can get a better paying job, maybe we don't have to work 6 days a week or 14, 16 hours a day. So you did that's the best way you taught us. That probably encouraged us, and you always encouraged us to get education.
You was growing smart enough to see the difference. Without education, how hard you had to work to keep your family to do living. And with education, you knew that you didn't have to do it maybe as much. And that one was on your mind, which every one of you wanted to go through, because I know a lot of families that was lots of boys, and they able to send one to university from whole bunch. The rest of them, they had to
do
labor job. Like Sapinka, you hear about Sapinka. They just like today that what his name, so famous on TV, player, Ukrainian player, that he plays. He's so high. The one he just married to American girl.
What kind of player?
Player, ball.
Ball player?
Yeah.
Are
you
crazy? I hear that all the time over the
He's the
radio.
Best player.
The best.
A baseball player?
Canadian game and went to American to be. He's the best one.
A football player?
Well, some players.
Okay.
Some of those things.
Right.
Anyways, in our time there was family by name Sapinka. And Sapinka have 5 boys. Right. And those boys was growing up on Niagara Street on a corner there. When they come from all country. Right. They grow up there. Right. Well, one of them, they appointed him that went for lawyer. They appointed him the highest. You remember? There wasn't a paper.
Maybe some Supreme Court of Ontario or Supreme Court judge.
Yeah. And one of them was player too. Some kind of those sports.
Okay, yeah, sport player.
Yeah, that he was famous. That one was married to the Palmer's daughter. You know Palmer?
I remember Palmer.
Yeah. So from this family, there was 5 boys. That's only, maybe 4. Only 2, they was the top of something they was practice on it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is, that's a big discover for the world to know. From poor family like that to manage to go to the top. That everybody knows when they hear that name. Wow, Sapinka. Yeah. Now, Tinanahad
No, I remember we saw an article in the paper once, something like that.
Not once.
Okay.
This one, it's every day. This games that play in America and Canada. What his name? Ukrainian guy too.
Ukrainian fella.
Yeah.
That's a hockey.
Oh, hockey fella. Oh, gee. There's some good Ukrainian hockey players, I'm sure. I can't.
He left Canadian because he married to American.
Oh,
American
Gretzky, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
Wayne
Well,
Gretzky.
you see, who doesn't hear about
Okay, Wayne Gretzky,
It's
right.
every day and,
Right.
and that.
Right.
He's a Ukrainian guy, and he reached
He's reached the top, yeah?
The top, you know.
So he's a Ukrainian, huh?
Oh yes,
Okay,
Gretzky.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're not as famous as Gretzky, but we. But anyway, we tried. So I think that about covers. Any final words, Dad? Any final words on Peter?
You mean
Just the
brother?
Yeah, Peter, my brother, not Peter
Right.
Gretzky or anybody like that.
No, I haven't got anything. Peter, wonderful to win. He's a pretty good businessman.
Okay.
I give him big credit on that one. He just have a little bit, they say, instinct what I was trying to be, because I never have a school, but Romania helped me a little bit with that 2 trade I got.
Right. Okay, well, he's a good businessman, and he's a good man and a good person.
He's a good boy.
Ma, from the mother.
Why about Peter? I didn't have only Peter.
We were just trying to do Peter today. We mostly try to concentrate. We wandered a little bit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
What about Peter? So, any final words here?
Final word for Peter. He was very smart baby. He was my first one, and we love them all just like we love him, both of us. How about that?
That's as good as ending as we can get. All right.
That's the one we really tried to be equal for you fellows. Not one is different, the better, or one is the worse one. All 3 in the same category.